Hello guys, here is a 1992 Heritage Lancaster ceiling fan. I don't know what the model number is. It just says Lancaster series on the fan motor. And I got this fan for $15 at the Restore last weekend. And I thought it was a pretty good deal. They originally had it priced at $30, but they were having a 50% off sale. So I thought it was worth a stop, and I really like this fan. Now I know Heritage seems to be a really hated brand for ceiling fans, but let me tell you guys this. These fans were sold for very cheap at Kmart or Menards. I think Heritage fans were sold at both, and they were really cheap. I think this one in 1992 would have been $30 maybe. I mean, this is what the original price tag was at the Restore. So although that $30 unfortunately is inflated now, but $30 would have been pretty cheap for one of these back in 1992, which $30 was a lot more money in 92. But the purpose of a fan is to move air and make you feel more comfortable, and this fan does that. It moves air and makes you feel more comfortable. It may not be particularly quiet, and it may not have the futuristic design that a lot of higher income people would have had in the 90s, but it gets the job done, and that is move air. I actually do like the cheap ceiling fans from the early 90s like this. I like the cane blades that this has. And oddly enough, this has a very interesting design on the cane. And that is the point. I don't know if you guys can see here on the camera, but the point is actually more outward. So I was honestly considering buying it for $30, even if it was $30. Although I usually don't buy used ceiling fans unless they're $20 or below. But I really did like the design this fan had overall. I like the polished brass with the white. I think it pairs up really well. And I like the light kit that this has too. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to where I can use. Although it has existed since like 1992, or I think the date code for the light kit is 1990, so it's 2 years older than what the rest of the fan is. And these shades I think are original. I don't think they look that bad. There's certainly much uglier shades than these. So without further ado, let's go ahead and turn the fan on. Here's the light. I have 3 60-watt incandescent light bulbs in this thing. Show you guys what they look like before they get hot. This is what they look like. I think these were $1 a piece at one of the thrift stores that I was at last summer. I think they're pretty satisfactory. And I'm going to turn the fan on low. So this fan I think is supposed to draw about 0.8 amps or so, which is not bad for a 52-inch fan. And this fan has a 4-5 motor, so you can have either 4 or 5 blades onto this thing. Normally when I do ceiling fans with a 4 or 5 blade configuration, or 4 or 5 motor I should have said, I usually just make separate videos, but this time I think I'm going to make them all in one video and use the video editor to do so. So you guys let me know which way you like it better, it being on a separate video or with it together. This is low speed, it's drawing 0.2 amps. I'm turning it to medium. And this fan has very low pitched blades, so it's not going to move the greatest amount of air. But yet again, this fan also doesn't aspire to. Like I said earlier in the video, these things were pretty cheap. They were probably less than $50. The Casablanca fans were like hundreds of dollars. So yeah, for a cheaper fan, you shouldn't really expect as much air. But like I said before, this purpose of a fan is to move air and make you feel more comfortable, and this is what the fan does. Now I know there's probably going to be people in the comments box down below like saying, "You shouldn't really throw this off of a roof or use a baseball bat to destroy it." I don't do destruction videos on this channel. Plus, it is so dumb and toxic, and you're wasting material doing it. So, quite frankly, I don't do destruction videos. If you guys like destruction videos, this channel is likely not for you. Because I don't do that dumb stuff. And here's high. Also on medium, this thing drew 0.3 amps. This is high speed, and it has a bit of a wobble to it, but it's not horrible. And also, this thing is missing one of the screws that goes on the mount on the canopy. So I'm going to probably have to fix that because this fan uses one of those canopies that the downrod ball rests on the canopy, and the canopy is really holding the whole thing. I'm not particularly fond of that design because I just imagine the ball slipping through the canopy. Although I haven't heard of that happen before, other than the hang falls fall through canopies from Casablanca, so I guess they aren't all that bad. And this thing definitely moves air. It's moving that Minerva in antique brass in the background. It is wobbling a little bit, but it's not that bad. Here's off, and I'll show you guys of the fan with the 4-blade configuration. Alright, here is the 4-blade configuration. Here's the light. And I'm not sure what looks better, 4 blades or 5 blades. Here's low. I had to take one of the blades off of the Minerva because blades could collide with each other because the fan is kind of wobbly. And I just didn't want to ruin any blades. That's why I had to take the blade off of the Minerva. So it's drawing the same amount of power, although I am noticing more of a draft with 4 blades versus 5. I like the fuller look of it with 5 blades, but airflow wise, I like 4 blades better. Here's medium. I hope the Minerva doesn't start moving and collide with the blades. If it does, I always have the switch. I can just kill the power by the switch. And some of the blades are starting to separate with the can, so I'm probably going to have to get some super glue to fix that. It shouldn't be that bad. It's drawing 0.31 amps, so about the same as it was with 5 blades. This is high speed and it's drawing 0.54 amps. I think the airflow is a little bit better with 4 blades. Yeah, I don't get what people's problems are with Heritage fans. They're not going to perform like Casablanca, but they don't aspire to. I don't get it. Why people can't just be nice or at least fair to the Heritage fans. I just don't get it. And now off. Well, there you have it, my 1992 Heritage Lancaster ceiling fan.